Hey everybody, welcome to Board Online, Board Offline. Today we're bringing you our top 10 most played games in the past year of the channel. So July 23rd was the 5-year anniversary of Board Online, Board Offline. Can't believe I've been doing this long. Honestly, when I first started, I wasn't sure how long I'd be doing it, if at all, you know, beyond the first couple of videos. So this has really turned into a hobby within the hobby for me, and constantly seeing the growth of the channel as more of you subscribe, as you continue to watch more and more, really is what keeps me going. And I really appreciate all of you who have watched any of my videos before, you know, and especially if any of you are out there watching them, almost every one of them as they come out. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for keeping the channel going. Also, I do want to mention that these t-shirts right now, which come from Mr. Meeple, you can get them 15% off, along with lots of the other t-shirts you see me wear on the channel. There is a link in the description below with a coupon code that's good till the end of September, I believe, for 15% off of these t-shirts and any other t-shirts over at Mr. Meeple. So be sure to check that out. And of course, as usual, our sponsor for this video is Board Game Co. Now, if you haven't been to this website before, you need to be sure to go and check them out just as soon as you're done watching this video. Follow the link in the description below to get over there. They have a huge selection of board games, a fantastic selection over there. All kinds of games for you to choose from. There's some difficult to find ones over there. There's games with really good prices. And the cool thing with Board Game Co. is not only can you buy games from them, you can sell your games to them, and you can even trade games. So go over to Board Game Co. They will help you buy, sell, and trade your way into a better collection. Now, the last thing before we get started with our top 10 most played games over the past year is this. We have a giveaway sprinkled throughout this video. And what you're gonna do is every time you hear this sound, that means the game that I'm currently talking about is featured in the giveaway. Now, we had several different companies that were kind enough to supply us with copies of the games they're gonna be giving away. So thank you to each of them, and you'll see who they are as those giveaways are announced throughout the video. Again, whenever you hear this sound. And what I want you to do is at some point towards the end of the video, I'll also explain exactly how to enter the contest so you can win a copy of these games. So again, there's gonna be 5 different games being given away in this video, so be sure to pay very close attention to which ones you might win. Okay, so before we start the 10 minutes, I want you to know that over the past year, I've played 79 different games, which I'm pretty positive is a record for me. In fact, let's see, last year I played 51 different games over the course of the year, so 79 different games, and last year I had 230 plays with those 51 games, and this year 310 plays with those 79 different games, so pretty happy with that. I think what you're gonna see is that the top games here are not gonna be have been played as much. However, that's because it's been spread out over a much wider swath of games. All right, so of course, as always with our top 10 list, we're gonna do it in 10 minutes. And that 10 minutes starts now. So number 10 is Seventh Continent. I had 6 plays of the Seventh Continent. The Seventh Continent is kind of a weird game as far as counting plays, because you know, a curse can last 10 hours, 12 hours, and you can stop the game anytime you want, pack it up, save it, and put it right back out some other time. And so is that a play? So the way I did it, every time I saved the game and put it away, that was a play. So I got, like I said, 6 plays. Last year, this would have been ranked 17 if I'd stretched the list out that far. I only had 4 plays last year. 6 plays this year. I love the Seventh Continent. It is an exploration game where the terrain that you're exploring is the same every single time. However, it is, you have all these different events that could occur, and the deck of cards that you're drawing from also represents your life. So as you go through this deck, which has all kinds of skills and abilities and tools and stuff in it, as you go through this deck, you are running through your life force. And so once you run out of that deck, you flip it over, or you shuffle it up and you draw from it as a discard pile. And if you end up drawing a curse from it, once you're going from the discard pile, you end up dying, and that's the end of the game. And there's ways to mitigate that. Food adds, cards back to your original deck and stuff like that. Ways to mitigate it. All right, number 9 is Suro with 7 plays. Now, this one wasn't on the list last year. This was the first year I played it. And this one is brought to you by Power to the Meeple, by the way, is giving this one away. So Suro is a very simple game where you're laying tiles out. Every player has a little piece like, that you start on your edge of the board, or really any edge of the board. And as you put the tiles out, there's little pathways on it. And you just follow the pathway as far as you can. All right, so the next thing, put the next tile out. Follow the pathway as far as you can. Well, eventually these tiles are gonna start linking up. And the key is you're trying to keep your piece on the board while also setting up other players to end up sliding their piece off the board. And if their piece falls off the board, they lose. If the pieces run into each other, they lose. The last person standing is the winner. That's Suro. Number 8 is Gloom Haven, also with 7 plays over the past year. Last year it was number 3 with 20 plays. Now, this is not for a lack of wanting to play. This is more because I have started expanding my collection so much, and games have just started taking a toll on the number of times they get played. So Gloom Haven with 7 plays, massive world, something like 90-something scenarios in the original box, and I believe there's like 20 different character classes. You start with 6 of them unlocked, and then you start to unlock more as you go along in the game. Your characters retire after you've been playing them for a certain amount of time, after you achieve their life goals and stuff like that. All kinds of monsters. This is not a typical fantasy world. Everything other than humans, everything is created specifically for this game. You don't have your elves and your dwarves. You have Inox, and you have Craghearts and stuff like that. That is Gloom Haven. Number 7 is Pax Emancipation. Rushing onto this list, I only just started playing this a couple of weeks ago and have 8 plays of it already. Pax Emancipation is from Phil Eklund. It is an incredibly difficult game to learn. A lot of that has to do with the way Phil Eklund writes his rulebooks. He's notorious for his rulebooks being difficult to understand and parse through. I found that once I got through it, once I understood it, then everything made sense as I played. And so this was my 8th play. Now on play 8, I only referenced the rulebook 2 or 3 times a game. Whereas earlier it was the first game. It was just constant rulebook flipping the entire time. I really feel like his games, or this is the only one I've played by him, if you get into it and you really dedicate the time to learn, then it's worth it. And I've quit the whole time. Pax Emancipation is about freeing slavery, freeing slaves, the global push to end slavery, and it really is a lot of time. Highly thematic, and also educational in a lot of ways, and just it is a fun game if you can make your way through the rules. All right, so apologies to Tiny Epic Galaxies, which, by the way, Gamelyn Games has provided a copy for this giveaway. Tiny Epic Galaxies is the only game in the Tiny Epic series that I've played. You're rolling dice, you are going around on the cards are the planets, you're settling planets, you are fighting other players for victory points. I've actually only played it solo and really enjoy it. It is a lot of fun solo. It is a tough solo game. I've only made it to the 2nd or 3rd level of AI difficulty with this one. And it's one of those games where you're going to roll the dice, and the action that you choose also affects what other players can do and that sort of thing. So as you're playing, you're going around to these different planets and trying to gain victory points from them, and it is just this dice rolling fun game. And again, I've only played it solo, but here's a lot of fun with multiplayer as well. Number 5 is Onitama, which is being given away by Arcane Wonders. Thank you very much. Onitama is a 2-player only game. It is imagine chess, but only 5 pieces each, and you only have 5 different moves you can make, but you only have access to 2 moves at a time. And when you use a particular move, now that gets passed over to the player, and you don't have access to that move again until the other player passes it back. And not only that, but the 5 moves are not the same in every game. There's a stack about this big of cards, and you shuffle them up, and every game, the different moves that are available to you are entirely different, basically, is what I'm saying. And that really adds a lot of replayability to the game. Adds every time you're playing, you're figuring out how to combo the moves that are available to you with each other. And also you got to pay attention to what you're giving to your opponent, because they're going to end up using that against you later. Number 4 is the Mind, which is being provided by Power to the Meeple for the giveaway again. And the Mind, I had 11 plays of Onitama, by the way, and 10 of Tiny Epic Galaxies. The Mind, 11 plays this year, and this is a game of complete silence. And the first round you have 1 card, as do the other players, and they're just numbered 1 through 100, that simple, and you're trying to play them in order, numerical order from 1 to 100. Then round 2, you have 2 cards. Round 3, you have 3 cards. By the time you get to round 7, and each of you have 7 cards, and you're trying to play them in numerical order, it can get really intense, and when you successfully do it, it's amazing, and you have a couple extra lives, and you have a couple, one other card that helps you, kind of pare down the cards a little bit. A lot of fun. The Mind, great for for young kids, probably 8 and up can play the Mind without much difficulty. Not saying they'd be very good at it, but they can play it. Number 3 is Medora with 13 plays. All right, the Medora is this massive game. The adventure book, which has all the scenarios, is nearly 500 pages long. It has sections of text that are 10 pages long in between the scenarios. It is a novel, a fantasy novel that you play through, and it's this mix of modern technology and fantasy technology. Earth exists in this world, but it's like a separate plane of existence where people are brought from Earth, as far as I can tell. They kind of touch on that at the beginning of the story and bring them into Medora, and it is a dice chucking fest. So many minis, but the thing that really stands out about Medora is there are no classes. You decide what your characters are going to be. You build them from the ground up and create your own class every time you start playing, when you're building up a new character. Number 2 is Root with 15 plays, and Leader Games has provided a copy of Root for the giveaway, so be sure to join that giveaway as soon as we're done with this video. Root is a game with 4 different factions. Every faction plays completely differently. You're all trying to gain control of this forest, with the possible exception of the Vagabond, who's just trying to create chaos, as far as I can tell. You have the Marquis that are just this industrial faction that are trying to build buildings. You have the Eerie that are just trying to retake their homeland because they're the original occupants of this forest. And then you have the Woodland Alliance that are all the other critters in the forest that are tired of these 2 other factions kicking their ass all the time. They've had enough, and they're gonna have an uprising against them. And then the Vagabond, who's running around like Strider in Lord of the Rings, just whooping up on everybody. So those are the factions. Everybody plays completely differently, but everybody's trying to get victory points, and everybody is constantly pushing against each other for that lead position. That's Root, number 2. Number 1 is Kingdom Death Monster, again with 20 plays. Last year it was number 1 with 29. Kingdom Death Monster is a world of absolute nightmarish horror, where you're not really so much trying to make any one survivor survive as you are your settlement. And it is your humans, or are you humans? You look like humans, but you are fighting against all these different monsters, and when you have a showdown, it's against an individual, massively powerful monster that you're trying to survive against, as opposed to a bunch of minions and everything that you might see in a lot of other games. And then you go back to the settlement, and then you go back out on a hunt, and then you have that fight again, and you go back to the settlement, and you're constantly building up the settlement. I've already run over my 10 minutes. That is Kingdom Death Monster, and those are the top 10 games for the past year that I have played. Thank y'all so much for watching. Now, the way you're going to get involved in this giveaway is in the description below is a link to a entry form. You'll go over there. There's some daily entries over there. There's some one-time entries. Go check it out. Fill that out. Start getting your entries in there. There are going to be 5 winners, like I said, 1 for each of the games that I mentioned as we went through. And the way this will work is whoever's name I draw first, I'll get in touch with you, and you'll have your choice out of all 5 games. So again, those games are Suro, Tiny Epic Galaxies, which, by the way, is going to include an expansion as well as player mats, and these are the deluxe edition of the game. Also, we have Onitama, and the Mind, and then Root. So a lot of good options here. So the first name I draw, you'll have your choice to any of those games. Second name, you'll have your choice out of what's left over, and then of course the fifth person is just unfortunately going to get whatever's left over. But they're all great games. So unless you already have the game you win, I'm sure you'll be thrilled to have it. So thank you again for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up. If you like the channel, please subscribe. And until next time, if you're bored online, bored offline.